Time now for news from Thailand, where coup leaders are tightening their grip in his first speech since becoming the head of the junta last week, since dissolving the government. The leader of Thailand's coup is saying that elections won't take place for at least a year. This after getting the king's blessing and the dissolution of the Senate. Now, despite calls to protest this coming Sunday, a lot of residents of Bangkok seem either resigned or even relieved by the coup, which breaks months of political stalemate. However, that's not the case in the stronghold of the ousted government of Yingluck Shinawatra. Correspondents Cyril, Payen, Ismail, Wolff made the 800-kilometer trek from the capital to the heart of red shirt country, the rural base of the Shinawats.
For a week now, Thailand has been under lockdown. The army has seized full control of the country. We are 800 kilometres north of Bangkok in the red shirt heartland. Anger against last week's coup can be felt more strongly here than anywhere else.
These soldiers, they have their orders, even if they think like us. The problem is that it can go on like this. Tourists will disappear. But here we're not afraid, and we all know very well what the new leaders are up to.
Protect democracy.
But you know that you go in jail for that.
I don't care. Soon we'll stand up and fight for our freedom.
So if you see people meeting, you have to arrest them, or is it what are your instructions?
My orders are not to answer. Sorry, no politics.
You feel bad about the people being angry?
To be honest, I do mind. We are not very comfortable in this situation.
Not 3 months ago, we were here in northern Thailand, a region fiercely loyal to political leaders Saksith Saiyasombut and his sister Yingluck. Both prime ministers and both overthrown by the military 8 years apart. But everything here has changed. The military is undertaking a sweeping purge of its opponents. A key leader of the opposition red shirt movement, activist Mahawan Gawan, has been on the run for a week. Half DJ, half guerrilla, he ran one of the 3,000 community radio stations since shut down by the new regime. But we still managed to get in contact with him by phone, briefly.
The situation is explosive because we clearly know what side the generals are on.
But is there any way we can meet you, Mahawan?
Impossible, too dangerous.
More than 250 people have been arrested by the military junta since the imposition of martial law, and untold others are in hiding or have simply vanished. We go in search of famous professor in Chiang Mai, whom we met when we were last here in February.
We are very worried. We don't know where he is. We've had no news for a week and there's nothing we can do.
Internationally recognized intellectual Professor Thanet was in the crosshairs of the establishment and could no longer count the number of enemies he had.
I think the only way for Thailand is civil war. Civil war, the armed fighting between the aristocratic forces and democratic forces. And two, that will be done maybe violently or by democratic means, separation of the country.
Unreachable and missing since the coup, one of his neighbours is able to shed some light on his whereabouts.
Well, you know, Professor Thanet has fled.
He fled? You know why he fled? Or? When is the last time you see him?
Everyone here knows why he left.
We return to Suan Muang, a red village in the middle of paddy fields. Here, Yingluck, and especially her brother Thaksin, are seen as heroes, champions of the rural majority. For generations, people here have farmed the land, but politics is now also an integral part of daily life.
The longer martial law lasts, the stronger the military grips on the country will become. But also the stronger our will to resist will grow in our heart and spirit. They can't cut out us from the world like this indefinitely. They want us to kowtow and be silent, but we'll never be. Our future now depends on our leaders. Without orders or without organization, it's difficult for us to do anything.
The local red shirt leader here hasn't fled. His name hasn't yet appeared among the hundreds on the junta's summons lists, but the regime's pressure is being felt here.
The soldier came this morning. They ordered me to remove all the red flags, our posters and photos. The only thing that can save us now are new elections.
And do you think this is the plan of Mr. Prayut to make some elections?
Well, it doesn't seem likely. We'll see.
This military camp on the outskirts of Chiang Mai is one of several that have been turned into makeshift detention centres for victims of the military's purge. The regional secretary-general of the Red Shirts has been held here for 5 days now.
No one's allowed in, not even family's member.
We still managed to make contact, though, from prison. This is the first contact with a member of the movement while still in detention.
We've been treated well, but they ask us questions about our intentions. But I'm very clear with them. I told them I'll never give up. I won't surrender my cause.
For the 12th time in 80 years, the military has seized power in Thailand. But for millions of rural residents, it's one coup too many.
Let's join now from Hamburg, Thai political blogger and journalist Saksith Saiyasombut. Before I ask you about the latest political developments from the capital, what's your reaction to that report?
Well, it definitely shows how loyal people still are to Thaksin and Yingluck Shinawatra, especially since they actually come from that region. And it also is very indicative how much an impact the policies of Thaksin and Yingluck have there, and that's why that also explains the loyalty to them. And it also shows that old tactics like vote buying doesn't cut it anymore, but actual policies that are tailored to this electorate.
Thailand, which has had many coups, in the report we see instances where soldiers talk openly, but do you get the sense that are the screws being tightened ever further, or is this the way a coup happens in Thailand?
This is actually more than any other coup that we have seen here, and keep in mind we are just in the second week since the military coup, and we already see many attempts and many measures being taken to tighten the grip. The media has been censored. A lot of people have been summoned. Hundreds of people have been summoned. It seems that there is an actual purge going on there to really remove everybody that has even been remotely associated with Thaksin from Thai politics. And so far, the generals have been also deliberately very cagey about what they're doing next. As far as I've heard, the elections are not going to happen anytime soon, for example.
Oh yeah, General Chan-ocha speaking for the first time directly to the Thai people. I'll just give you briefly some of the things that he said, that it would take at least 2 to 3 months to achieve reconciliation. Then there'd be a new constitution, an interim government. Only then could elections be held. More than a year. Is his timetable reasonable?
Well, for them, it makes a lot of sense what they do, but it all depends on how inclusive they are going to be in their efforts for reconciliation, for reforms. But to be honest, what we have seen so far with the purge, with the removal of Thaksin-affiliated people, it doesn't look like it will be very inclusive. It more looks like they're going to do it their way, and this is not going to solve any political tensions.
Now, the timing of this coup, we've talked about it before, a lot of speculation that it has to do with the king's health. The king who is old, who's frail. This week he gave his endorsement to the head of the junta, but we didn't see the king publicly. Your thoughts on what role the royalty is playing right now?
Well, unfortunately, because of the problems and the censorship we have now in Thailand, and the Les Majest law, which criminalizes open criticism to the monarchy with 15 years in prison, and with the heightened censorship measures going on there, I unfortunately, and I'm sorry for that, I have to decline to answer this question.
And what about the fact that in the capital right now, there seems to be a certain amount of resignation when it comes to this coup?
Well, it shows that people are really, especially in Bangkok, that are apolitical, are fed up with politics, and they're being more apolitical, because this is just the latest episode in an ongoing political crisis that has been going on for 10 years now, with lots of street protests, with lots of casualties, with 2 military coups. And I can't understand, even though I do not agree with many people, that they just want to have stability and some political calm. But while this may only bring calm in the short term, but it doesn't, as I said, it doesn't solve the political tensions in the long term.
Saksith Saiyasombut, is this a repeat of the last coup in 2006?
I think this is a sequel, and it is even stricter. So when you look at it that way, 2006 was already an attempt to remove Thaksin from politics. That doesn't work. So now they're going to double down and going even harder into that. And as I said, they're finishing the job they have started in 2006, and this may make things even worse.
Saksith Saiyasombut, I want to thank you for joining us, and we'll of course continue to monitor this story as it develops.